Hi everyone, Holly here again. Yesterday I attempted to do a reading on Michael Jackson and had some technical difficulties. So today I'm going to attempt again. I'd like to try to get in contact with him and find out more about what happened the day before and the night he died. Before he was found by his personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, at his home in California. And then try to clear up any rumors that Dr. Murray intentionally murdered him. There are some that say that he did, and there are some others saying that Michael really did ask for more because he had an addiction to painkillers. So I want to try and get some information on that. Dr. Murray was actually found guilty and convicted of involuntary manslaughter and served almost 4 years in prison. Which is great for Michael that he got some kind of justice. Because Dr. Murray also lost his license to practice. So I guess we really should not be calling him a doctor anymore, even though he probably still has his doctorate. So I'm going to go ahead and see if we can get Michael to come through. Michael Joseph Jackson Sr. You have 3 children. Michael Jr., aka Prince. You have Paris, and then you have Prince Michael Jackson, aka Blanket. Who all miss you very much, and I see so much of you in them. I follow Paris on Instagram, and she's become such a wonderful, beautiful young woman. She's got an amazing voice, just like you do, and there are so many fans out there that want to know the truth about what happened when you died, whether you willingly wanted those painkillers put in your IV or whatever, however it was injected, or if Dr. Murray intentionally killed you. We'd also like to know your thoughts on everything that's going in the world right now. And if you have any messages for your fans, or your friends, or your family. And if you're able to make the cards jump to give your message, let us know what you want to say by making the cards fly out. You joined Jackson 5, well, Jackson 3, I really should say, in 1964 with your brother Marlon. You joined your 3 older brothers. And you guys became famous. And we know that it was during the Civil Rights Movement, and everything at that time was very tense in the world, especially in America. And now we're going through that same problem again with racism and protests and violence. And we want to know what your message to the world is about that. Donald Trump is also our president, and he has turned this country into a shithole. So if you have any messages for the world out there, we'd like to know what you think. I'm going to cut this deck. I've been finding it easier to do 6 card readings just because of the amount of space I'm limited on sitting on the bed doing this. But this is my best way of being able to do the readings, look at my screen, and have the camera set up the way I do. So please bear with me here while I bring my guide up. Okay, so our first card is the Empress card. And the Empress card usually refers to beauty and nature and females and abundance. So, again, I'm going to wait till we get another spread of cards along here before I give my insight onto what these cards are saying by him. But I just like to go across and tell everybody what they mean. So this is a female, this is beauty, this is nature, nurturing, abundance. And then we have the Devil reversed next to it. And this is usually really related to detachment and exploring dark thoughts when it's reversed like this. So this could well be him saying he was, he had dark thoughts going on in his head or some kind of detachment. So again, we'll wait till I go through all these and flip the next cards over on top. And then that 8 of Wands. This usually is fast-paced change or action or movement. So this could be, well, him talking about the current events going on right now. So let's, again, wait until we get to the next set of cards here. And then this 5 of Pentacles is usually associated with being worried or some kind of anxiety. So again, I want to wait till we get to the next round, again, to figure out what's going on here. But this also does talk about recovering from financial loss. And at the time, he was going bankrupt. When he passed away, he was having to sell a lot of things, and his land was foreclosed on at the Neverland Ranch. So this could well be talking about him with his finances too. So we'll go ahead and wait and see. And then the 7 of Cups reverse. This is personal value in alignment and overwhelmed by choices. So he could be well talking about being overwhelmed at the time with the choices he had to make regarding his tour and his health and his well-being. And then that 7 of Swords usually refers to betrayal or deception. So this could be him talking about Dr. Murray. So okay, now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and flip a card on top of each of these, and then I'm going to try to come across some kind of meaning to see what he's trying to tell us. Okay, so with that Empress card, when we're saying it's has to do with the female or beauty or nature, the 6 of Wands came up on that. And that usually refers to success or public recognition or progress or self-confidence. So, with that being said, this Empress card, I'd like to think that he's referring to his daughter Paris. He's talking to his daughter Paris here and calling her beautiful. She's become successful and officially recognized by the public. So I'd like to determine this is him talking about Paris. And then back to that Devil reverse card. Remember talking about exploring dark thoughts and detachment. The King of Pentacles came up on that. And he's talking about wealth and business and leadership. So, with exploring the dark thoughts or the detachment, he was going through a financial loss at the time, having his house foreclosed on. He was in debt. So, there's a chance that he was, definitely not in a good place financially wise. And it was really messing with his mentality, and with him losing his fortune. And then with that 8 of Wands, that remember we said it had to do with action or change, and we thought maybe he was referring to everything going on right now. That Ace of Cups came up on top of the card. And this has to do with compassion and love. So he's telling us we need to love one another and we need to show compassion for everyone. But we need to make a change. So that's like his song Man in the Mirror. Exactly what he's talking about in that. Is that time to make a change and do what's right. And then back to that Pentacles card with the Five of Pentacles. Remember we said that it was suffering from a financial loss when we talked about he was going through the foreclosure at the time of his death. The Two of Cups came on that. This is usually partnership and the mutual attraction card. This came up on top of it. When it's reversed though, which in this case it's not, but when it is reversed, this does mean disharmony and distrust or breakup. But this also does mean unified love. So again, I'm tying this back that that we need to unite and love each other. And that's what he's actually worried about, that we aren't. And he's worried for our country. And then we have that Seven of Cups reversed again. Remember, it said this is personal values, being overwhelmed by choices. The Six of Pentacles came up. This is again talking about money. This is the wealth and generosity card. So he was definitely overwhelmed by his financial problems. So this is definitely him talking about money, how much he was worried about it. And then finally we have that Seven of Swords. The Seven of Wands came up on top of it. So with that Seven of Swords and talking about how there was a betrayal and deception, someone getting away with something, that Seven of Wands reversed. There was exhaustion. He was giving up. He was overwhelmed about something. So I feel that whatever this is, that he's been either feels betrayed, I feel that this is related to Dr. Murray. This is related to his death. So I do want to look into this some more. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to do one more row over each. Try to get a little more of a clearer message here. With that Hierophant that just came up on the betrayal and the deception, he's talking about conformity. So there's some kind of conformity with this betrayal or deception. Back to his money problems with the card before, that Queen of Pentacles came up on it. Again, this is talking about providing financially. He was a working parent, so having all this money being taken from him and not being able to provide for his family, he was very upset about that. So it's very great that that came up. And then going back to that unified love, that Five of Swords came up on it. And here he's talking about conflict and disagreements. So again, he's telling us that we need to end our conflicts and disagreements in the world. We need to come together and love one another. He's telling us we need to change and we need to have peace and love and harmony in the world. And then going back up here with the Ace of Cups and how we talked about that we need to show compassion and love in the world as well. Again, tying back to this down here. The Ace of Wands came up reversed. With that compassion, we're going, right now it's a lack of direction for everybody. There's too many distractions and delays. So he's telling us we need to do this now. We need to not delay any longer and show compassion and love. Our country's going in the wrong direction again, and there's too many distractions. And then going back to that King of Pentacles card, the Two of Wands came up on it. A Two of Wands means future planning, progress, decisions, and discovery. With that King of Pentacles, remember we said that he was worried about his money and he was detaching or exploring dark thoughts about it. So that Two of Wands, he had a lot of decisions to make as far as his money goes. So this is, again, tying back to his wealth problems. This is a big thing. And then, remember how we thought he was talking with this Empress card and the Six of Wands? We assumed he was referring to his daughter Paris, but he was talking about a female in beauty and public recognition. The Chariot card came up on top of that. And that means control, willpower, success, action, and determination. So again, yes, this is referring to Paris. She is very determined to be successful and follow in her father's footsteps. And this is a great outcome that this has come up on this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set these cards aside. And Michael, what I'd like you to do is to give me some kind of insight more into what happened with Dr. Murray. You're talking about how you were saying you felt betrayed by something or someone. We want to know if that was Dr. Murray. So I want you to tell us what you think or what did happen the night you died. So we have the Four of Cups here. He's telling us that he was contemplating something or reevaluating something. So there's a chance that he might have been reevaluating his decisions involving his personal physician. There were rumors that Michael was going to let him go and get a new doctor. But again, I want to see what else he has to say here. With this Queen of Cups, he was emotionally stable at the time. So he had no ill will of intending of harming himself. He was emotionally stable. He was intuitive at the time as well too. So there is a chance that he was catching on to something. And then that Three of Wands. This is reversed. There was some kind of unexpected delay or lack of foresight. So there's a chance that this is him telling us that when he was given those drugs the night before, they didn't work right away. Because when Dr. Murray returned the next day to check on him, he wasn't officially dead yet. He was still warm and he still had a pulse. However, Michael had stopped breathing. So with Dr. Murray returning, I feel like he had come back to make sure he was done. He did not call 911 right away because he claimed he didn't know the address. How do you not know your client's address when you are personally at their home? Why would you put that off? So again, with that unexpected delay, that could also be him saying he put off calling 911 on purpose. And I feel that he is right about that. And then the Four of Wands came up again, but this time reversed. Just from my other reading the other day, this had come up when I was having the technical difficulties. That Four of Wands reversed. This is conflict with others. So they had some kind of disagreement or conflict the night before. When he was given that Propofal. Again, there were different sides to the story, even during the trial, that Dr. Murray's defense is that Michael told him to give him the drugs, and he was telling him he didn't want to. However, other people claim that Michael said, please stop, please don't give me anymore, I don't want any more. So this is sounding like Michael is telling us that they were disagreeing about how much Propofal the doctor was giving him. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles. Over here. And I did have this one last night as well too, trying to contact him when I had the technical difficulties. There was some kind of new financial or career opportunity about to manifest for Michael at the time of his death. And I have heard that with that tour, he was working on another project at the time, or was going to start working on another project, and it fell through. So this is potentially talking about his tour that was going to help him get out of debt. And obviously with his death, they just took all the rehearsal footage and turned it into a documentary for him. And then we have the Two of Pentacles. I had this one last night again as well too. He was trying to manage his time better with everything that was going on as far as tour rehearsals and doing his music. And getting it, but he was also trying to get his priorities straight. So he was going through a lot with the foreclosure and falling out into debt, as well as having to come up with the money to pay back all those debts by doing the tour. So this is great that this has come up. So again, I'm going to flip another 6 cards here. And we had that Death card come up on top of the Queen of Cups. So I'm very happy to see that. So down here with those priorities, the Star came up reversed. This means lack of faith or despair or disconnection. So with his priorities, he was in a lot of despair at the time, having to do all this stuff. So this is very well pointing to him telling us, yes, I was going down a dark hole at that time, but I was trying to get out of it by making music again. And then going back to that Ace of Pentacles with the new financial opportunity, the Knight of Wands came up on that. That Knight of Wands means action, adventure, impulsiveness, inspiration, passion, energy. So, again, I'm going to associate this with the tour that he was about to start. He always had the energy and passion to perform. He always wanted to perform. So this, again, was more than likely an impulse move because of him being in debt and he needed to come up with some money. So he wanted to go back on tour to get himself out of debt. But he also was doing this for the fans. He loved his fans, still does. So this is him saying that this tour was for us, and that's why they want This Is Us for the name of the tour. And then going back to that Four of Wands. Remember we said that there's some kind of conflict with others. The Page of Pentacles came up on that. Again, this is telling us something about financial opportunity or skill development or some kind of manifestation. So with that being said, I actually want to believe that this conflict that he's referring to with this is again arguing about money. So I feel like he was going through a conflict with possibly his lawyers or his manager or whoever was helping him with his estate, arguing about what to sell, what to keep, what to do next. And going back up to that Three of Wands reversed, and he's talking about some kind of unexpected delay. The Six of Swords came up on that. There's some kind of transition or some kind of change going on. So, again, going back to his thing with the tour and his finances, that this is more likely him talking at the time of his death. He was going through this transition, probably having a spiritual outlook on life. And then that Queen of Cups. Remember how we said he was emotionally stable at the time of his death, and with that Death card coming up, You know, this means endings, change, transformation, transition. Again, going back with this one, also saying the same thing. So there's a good chance that at the time of his death, he was definitely not in the state where he would want to take his life intentionally. So he's definitely in the right mind when he passed away. And then back to that Four of Cups, we had the Three of Swords come on top of it. And that Four of Cups, remember we said that he was contemplating or reevaluating something. Well, that Three of Swords refers to heartbreak, emotional pain, sorrow, grief, hurt. So, with that said, I mean, he was reevaluating everything that he was going through at that time. And the grief that he was going through is because he had to get rid of all his animals. His animals were taken from the ranch and put in wildlife preserves to be taken care of. They were sold to other people. So this is a very good chance that he's heartbroken over having to give his animals away to other people, possibly people he didn't know and may not have trusted with the care of his animal friends. So this is very good. So I'm gonna do one more row here, and again see what's coming up here. I'm going this way this time. Just like I would have before. And again, starting back down here and going back. So going back to that Two of Pentacles and the Star, the Page of Cups came up on that. Now this usually refers to curiosity, possibility, or intuitive messages. So remember we said with that Star that he was talking about how there was some kind of lack of faith or despair. How he was trying to get his priorities straight. So with that Page of Cups then, again, I believe he was trying to figure out all the different possibilities of how to get himself out of debt. There were things he wanted to sell and he was not given permission to. And then there were other things he was allowed to sell that he did not want to let go. So again, that might draw back to the conflict that we talked about earlier, that he was having a conflict over the money down here. So again, that probably ties to that. And then that Queen of Swords has come up on that Knight of Wands that we just did with the talking about the impulsiveness, being inspired to go on tour. And that Queen of Swords, this is, he had clear boundaries and was independent about that. He had a direct communication to his staff. This is what I'm doing, whether you like it or not. So again, this is him talking about that. It sounds like he was advised not to go on a tour, but he was going to do it anyways, and went ahead with it. And then back to that Four of Wands and that Page of Pentacles, with the conflict. That Queen of Wands has come up reversed. He was reestablishing himself with everything that was going on. He was trying to gain his confidence back by going on tour, but that conflict was giving some kind of bad vibe with it. So again, I'm tying this to his money and not his death. And then on top of that, 6 of Swords that we talked about, where you're talking about some kind of transition or change. The Moon reverse came up on that. There was some repressed emotion or some inner confusion during this, which definitely makes sense. With anyone could have a lot of different emotions when money's involved. If you're going bankrupt, reversed or upright, this really does kind of mean the same thing. You know, there's fear, there's anxiety. So he was definitely anxious and fearful at the time based off of his money. And then going back to the Death card and the Queen of Cups, how we said that he was emotionally stable at the time of his death. There's some kind of manifestation or some kind of power. So this definitely could be talking about Dr. Murray again. That he might have been overpowered by Dr. Murray's influence. And then going back to that heartbreak and grief, my ears just decided to mess with me. With that 4 of Cups and talking about contemplating and reevaluating. The Fool came up. This refers to beginnings, innocence, spontaneity, free spirits. So, again, going back to his animals, this is... He was definitely reevaluating the whole situation while going through the heartbreak. But he looked like he was going for new beginnings and was possibly going to buy them back and get him back on his land. So I want to flip some more cards here on this one, because now that we've got his death involved here, I want to see if he can say anything else here. So I'm going to start from the top here. The 9 of Wands came up. Again, we're talking about his animals and how he was reevaluating the situation going on. The 9 of Wands came up on that. And he was persistent about making sure that he got his animals back. He was resilient to a lot of things, too, as well. So that was like his friends. So that was like, you know, his family that he had there. Going back to his death, we talked about that there was, with the Magician, there was some kind of power. The Lover's card came up. This not necessarily means love and harmony all the time. It also does mean choices. So, but it also means relationships. So it's sounding that at the time of his death that the relationship between him and Dr. Murray was indeed strained. So I do want to look some more into that. Again, let me flip another card. Actually, we'll probably do another reading here. The 9 of Pentacles came up on top of that Moon reversed. Remember we said with the Moon reversed, there was some kind of repressed emotion. The 9 of Pentacles, let's see, he's talking about financial independence and self-sufficiency. So again, going back to his finances, he was very, very, very worried about his money, being able to afford to live. The 8 of Pentacles came on top of that Queen of Wands. The 8 of Pentacles is like, with this reversed, this means misdirected activity, but it also does mean perfectionism. But remember we said that Queen of Wands, that he was trying to reestablish himself because of his money problems and everything. So with that 8 of Pentacles, again, they hit a roadblock with the estate before the ranch went into foreclosure and Bank of America took the land back. So that's very interesting. And then we have the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man came on top of that Queen of Swords. That, remember, we said that there was some kind of communication, some kind of independency. And again, I think we believe this was tied to his finances, if I remember right. I apologize if you see me lifting cards, just because I have to double check. Yes, this was talking about that tour with the financial opportunity, how he was trying to get all his money back. So going with that Hanged Man, then this is surrender or letting go or new perspectives. So whatever this project was, again, I don't believe it. Now I don't believe it is the tour that he was working on. There was possibly that there was some other kind of opportunity that came up, and he had to pause it or surrender. But again, during the rehearsals for the tour, they did end up having to take a couple days off because of his health. So this could also be him talking about pausing the rehearsals for a couple days. And then finally, remember, we had that Page of Cups, which sometimes people associate the birth or celebration or birth of a baby or something, or marriage with this card. However, remember we said that there's some kind of curiosity or possibility or intuitive message. The Three of Cups came up on that. And again, this is talking creativity, collaboration, celebration, friendship. So with that Two of Pentacles and the Star reversed on it, I mean, trying to get his priorities together. There's some kind of despair or lack of faith about something. But then, what I'm getting off of this is that he was celebrating the possibility that something, that his life was going to get better. That's what I'm coming off of that. So what I want to do now, I want to try to do one more reading and try to get some more insight. Again, about Michael's death. So I'm going to shuffle these cards up again. Michael, what I want you to do now is I want to draw your energy, you to draw your energy of the cards and tell us whether or not Dr. Conrad Murray intentionally murdered you with Propofal, or if it was an accident. And just like I also had asked before, if there was any kind of message you wanted to tell your fans or tell the world. We thank you for the one earlier where you said that we need to make a change. So again, these cards are just not shuffling very well tonight, and I apologize if it seems... There we go. Okay. Okay, so we had that Page of Swords come up here. This refers to new ways of communicating or a thirst for knowledge, but also means new ideas and curiosity. So there's a chance he's telling us he wants to tell us the truth. The Seven of Pentacles reversed. This, when it's reversed, it means limited success or reward, or a lack of long-term vision. So this could be him talking about that he was planning to fire Dr. Murray as his physician. So he was questioning like some things about like money, or possibly whether his tour was going to bring in the money. But this usually means that you need to prioritize things. So I feel that he's telling us that whatever happened, that whatever was going on was not going to be long term. And it's possible that he felt his money problems were going to be over very soon. But then the next card that comes up is that Five of Pentacles. Remember, this is the worry card. This is like recovery from financial loss, spiritual poverty. But it also means isolation and stuff. So again, he's still talking about his money. That he's trying to recover from this huge financial loss. So money was definitely the biggest thing that was on his mind at the time of his death. And then we had that Four of Cups again. This time this is reversed. There's some kind of withdrawal or retreat. So this is potentially telling us that he may have actually possibly have an addiction to painkillers or something. With this referring to withdrawal. So I definitely have to look into that some more in the next flip over here. And then we have the Page of Pentacles. When it's reversed, this means lack of progress, procrastination, and learn from failure. So, again, I'm going to wait till we flip cards over, because I don't know if he's telling us that he is learning from the failure he suffered over the years, or if he was procrastinating about something. But this could also mean, with the lack of progress, that could also be him saying that the drugs didn't kill him right away, so it just was not any progress. Because as I said before, when Dr. Murray found him the next morning after he administered that Propofal, Michael was still alive. He just was not breathing. He had a pulse. He was warm. So, in all honesty, Michael really choked to death with him not breathing like that. That's what I take off of the what happened with the Propofal. It caused him to stop breathing. Pretty much caused him to choke. Because he still had a pulse and he was still warm. But again, we'll have to see what this is referred to. And then down here we have the High Priestess to reverse. This usually refers to, when it's reversed, it means withdrawal again, and silence, and secrets. So, again, this could be very well him talking about Dr. Murray and what happened that night. So I'm going to flip 6 more cards. This is going to be the last one for this. Unless I find something interesting, then I may do one more row here. Or just keep trying to look more into. So going back down here with the secrets and the withdrawal and the silence, we had that Eight of Cups come back up. Remember how we said disappointment, abandonment, withdrawal with that card. So it's definitely starting to point to that he suffered from withdrawal a lot. So there is a good possibility that he very much was addicted to painkillers or drugs. And with it being Hollywood, that would definitely not surprise me. Again, if you have watched my other videos, remember, we lost Corey Monteith in 2013 to an overdose. and that at the time of his death he had just gotten out of rehab and he was coming clean and he was going to be sober, and then all of a sudden he passed away and they found codeine and heroin in his system, and they believed that he had fallen off the wagon again with his being on those painkillers from dental work. So go back and watch those videos, and if you have not already, because that's very interesting that Michael Jackson is saying that he may potentially have had a withdrawal problem. Going back to that Page of Pentacles, remember we said there was some kind of procrastination. That Page of Cups has come up again. And again, remember we said that there's curiosity and possibility for this. So with that Page of Pentacles coming up as a lack of progress or procrastination or learn from failure, he's just telling us there was a possibility that whatever happens, or he's sending us some kind of intuitive message about that. So again, I'm going to look some more into this. I am going to do one more row because that is very interesting that that's come up. The Fool card came up on top of that Four of Cups. Remember we said the Four of Cups was, again, retreat, withdrawal. So that Fool, it's reversed this time. This means risk-taking, recklessness. So I do believe he had some kind of drug problem, and he told me that he got reckless with it closer to his death. Now up here with that Worry card, with that Five of Pentacles, we have the Seven of Swords come up. Remember, the Seven of Swords says that this is like some kind of betrayal or deception, or someone getting away with something. So this could very much well be saying, yes, I had a problem, however, at that time I did not intend to kill myself. So this could be him well saying, remember, going back down here, this also means secrets too as well, so, which is also what this is. So these two are tying together, so that's very interesting. And then with that Seven of Pentacles, we had that Ace of Pentacles come up again. And that Seven of Pentacles, remember I said there was some kind of lack of long-term vision or reward or success. With the Ace of Pentacles reversed, this means lost opportunity, lack of planning and foresight. So tying those two together, remember going back to the last thing, he was talking about how there was some kind of new financial opportunity or something, or career opportunity. He lost that opportunity, whatever it was. So some kind of deal fell through, and it wasn't going to be very successful. So that's a very good, interesting thing that's come up. And then that Page of Swords. Remember we said that Page of Swords, there was some thirst for knowledge or some kind of new idea or something. The Devil card came up on that. This usually refers to addiction, restriction. So again, tying back to all this, Michael's telling us he had an addiction problem. So he had some kind of addiction problem. That's interesting. All right, I'm gonna do one more row here. So Michael, we're getting that you had some kind of addiction problem, but we want to know what Dr. Murray's involvement in this was. Was your death intentional, or was it an accident? Is what we're trying to get at here. So starting back down here with that High Priestess cards, remember I said there were secrets and with withdrawal or something. That Five of Swords came up. Again, with that Five of Swords, this means like conflict or disagreement, or defeat. So what I'm drawing off of this is that his withdrawal secret, he felt like he was being defeated by his problem, or there was some kind of conflict or disagreement. So again, I want to think that maybe going back to he had some kind of argument or disagreement with Dr. Murray the night he was given that Propofal. And then going back to that Page of Cups and that Page of Pentacles, the Wealth card came on top of those cards. So remember we said there was like some kind of lack of progress or procrastination. And some kind of intuitive message. So again, with this Wealth card, it's reversed this time. That Six of Pentacles. He's talking unpaid debts. So he definitely had a lot of unpaid debts that he was trying to figure out how he was going to pay for them and stuff like that. So he was trying to figure out all the possibilities how to get himself out of debt and pay all these debts off. So that's very good that come up as well too. And then going back to the Four of Cups and the Fool reversed. Remember we said the Four of Cups was retreat, withdrawal again. And that Fool reversed, he was talking about recklessness. And we were tying that to his addiction. The Seven of Wands came up on that. He was protecting or persevering over something. So with this, what I'm getting off of this is that he did have a problem, but he was coming off of the withdrawal or the addiction clean and sober at the time of his death. So it's starting to sound like he did not intentionally want those drugs in him for a reason. So it's possible the way Michael Jackson died may have actually been similar to how Corey died. With Corey coming out of rehab and having been clean and sober for so long, when that heroin hit his system like that, there is a good chance that because he had not touched the stuff in forever, that his body just could not handle it. And I'm assuming, I'm starting to assume, I'm not going to assume, but I'm starting to wonder if that's the same thing that happened to Michael Jackson, that his body just couldn't take any more drugs in his system. And then going back up to that Seven of Swords and the Five of Pentacles with the worrying, and someone getting away with something. The Isolation card came up on that. This is the Hermit. This usually means isolation, loneliness, withdrawal. Again, we've seen a lot of withdrawal in this reading. So there's definitely something going on here with his body. And then going back to that Seven of Pentacles and that Ace of Pentacles, we had the Ten of Wands come up on it. Remember we said that there was some kind of lost opportunity and there was a lack of long-term vision or something. The Ten of Wands, excuse me, came up on that. Remember, this is the burden card. He was carrying this huge burden regarding that situation. So whatever it was, it sounds like he had no control over losing this opportunity, and it weighed on his mind for a very, very long time. And then finally, with that Page of Swords and the Devil, remember we said that there was a thirst for knowledge. And there was some kind of addiction or restriction. And we were assuming that this was referring to his drug problem that he was talking about, all this withdrawal here. That Three of Wands came up on it. And it's reverse. And this, again, that means an unexpected delay. There was some kind of delay. So what I would do, I just want to flip one more grouping of cards here. So with that unexpected delay, that's the Four of Wands. Again, with that relaxation, joy. So this is very interesting that's come up. But it also does mean homecoming. So this is him talking about being at home during all this, which is where he died. He died at his home. So that's very interesting. And with that burden, the Sun card has come up talking about that burden, about this lost opportunity. He was saying it was supposed to be positive and fun and vital and possibly successful. So it's just sounding like that he had no choice over that lost opportunity, and it was probably actually his management that may have caused that opportunity to be lost. And then going back to the isolation and the worry, and the betrayal and the deception, the Knight of Pentacles has come up reversed on that. He was feeling stuck. He was bored. Well, he was so very much a perfectionist. He was bored at the time all this was going on. So with that deception or betrayal, with that feeling stuck, I feel like maybe he's telling us there was no way he could stop whatever Dr. Murray was doing. I feel that's what he's telling us. And then going back down to that Seven of Wands. Remember we said that there was some kind of protection or perseverance about something with his, with the recklessness we thought was Dr. Murray. I don't know why I'm flipping a card over this. I am. That's right. I'm tired, and in fact I have time to go back to bed because I got to, again, open up my job tomorrow. So I remember going back with that, the Tower came up on top of that. And that's interesting because this usually means chaos and revelation and upheaval. So again, going back, I do believe Dr. Murray, he's telling us Dr. Murray did intentionally give him those painkillers with the intent to harm him. And just like that, we believed that, always believed that Dr. Murray had murdered him. So this is a very interesting. It's very interesting because we was talking about his withdrawal and how he's, that's just very, very amazing that that's come up, that there was recklessness. So again, he's telling us Dr. Murray was reckless, and then all of a sudden there was chaos. Michael said there was chaos after he left. So that's Michael telling us he knew he was dying, and he could not help. He could not call for help because going back to before that, with that Knight of Pentacles, is saying he was feeling stuck. He couldn't go anywhere because he had the drugs in his system, and it was pretty much killing him right there on the spot. But he didn't fully die till the next morning. Okay. The Nine of Swords came up on top of that wealth card. Again, this is anxiety, worry, fear, depression, nightmares. So he was very anxious and worried with his financial situation again. So that was still one of the biggest burdens he was carrying on his shoulders at the time, was his money. Probably more or less because he was more worried about if his kids would be able to live financially. Because they did move in with Joe and Catherine, his mom and dad, after he passed. The kids did. They were taking care of the children. So this is very interesting that this has come up like this. And then we have the High Priestess card. Remember we said there were secrets? And then we had that Five of Swords on top of it, talking about a conflict. The Five of Pentacles came up on that. Again, this is isolation. This is worry. This is financial loss. I'm recovering from financial loss. So, whatever this big conflict or secret was, whether it had to do with his withdrawal or not, he had a lack of mindset about it, or he was very isolated and worried about it. So this is very interesting. So, what I think I'm going to do, I want to try to see if I can get some more answers with this stack here. So I'm going to take these away, and I'm going to leave that stack right here, and I'm going to shuffle these cards back together. And use this and try to see if I can get more information on his death. We've got some jumpers here, which are very interesting, but I do not wish to use them because it's him still talking about money. Michael, I need you to tell us if you willingly took those drugs or not. Because there are conflicting arguments. Some say you asked for them. According to Dr. Murray, there's others saying that people said you were telling him to stop. Security guards and stuff were saying this. So I need you desperately to tell us what happened. And we had a jumper. Again, this is that Page of Pentacles. And I don't know why he keeps jumping this out. This is talking about financial opportunities and stuff. So, like, it's still on his mind. Okay. The Two of Pentacles came up now on top of that Chaos and Revelation. Again, this is talking about his priorities, but time management. So this is very well him saying that it killed him overnight. This is what I feel, that he feels like that it was tied. So keep going here. And that Queen of Pentacles. Again, he's going back to his money, that on his mind at the time was a lot of money where he would be able to provide financially, that he was a working parent. But this also does mean nurturing and practical. So there's a chance that he's telling us that this was not intentional. That Dr. Murray did not intend to cause harm to him. But I'm going to keep going here and see what I can come up with. That Star Reverse came up again. Again, there was a lack of faith, despair. So, yeah, he's still worrying about the money. But with Dr. Murray, it's had a lack of faith, or he was in despair. So again, that's still referring to his death, that something was going on here. And there's that double card again. This time it's upright again. It's like addiction restriction. And then we have that Two of Swords. This Two of Swords, when it's reversed, this means indecision, confusion. It also means stalemate. So this is him telling us that he was very confused at the time of his death, or he came to some kind of indecision or stalemate, possibly with Dr. Murray. There's that Six of Pentacles again. Again, that's the wealth card. So he's still indecisive and confused about his wealth, and his money, and all his unpaid debts. And then that Eight of Pentacles reverse. Again, misdirected activity, just as we had before. And that Three of Cups. This usually means friendship or collaboration. So his friendship with Dr. Murray was very, very strained. It was very misdirected at the time of his death. And that Wheel of Fortune card has come up. This means bad luck when it's reversed, or resistant to change, or breaking cycles. So again, I feel that he was trying to cut ties with Dr. Murray before his death. That Three of Wands again. That Three of Wands usually means progress or expansion. But it also doesn't mean foresight or opportunity. So I feel that he had some kind of, again, was trying to dismiss Dr. Murray, or was planning to let him go. But he was in a lot of pain at the time of his death. So I'm going through a lot of mental and physical exhaustion from his tour. That's Seven of Cups. Again, this is choices. So, and wishful thinking, opportunities, illusion. So, again, I'm going back to, he made a choice and was going to let Dr. Murray go. So, with that Strength card has come up. This is persuasion, compassion, influence, strength, courage. So, it's sounding like he was persuaded. He was persuaded to take those drugs, or be given those drugs, or he persuaded Dr. Murray to give him those drugs. It's back or forth here, and that's what I'm going to see what this next card is. Maybe get some more clarity here. Again, illusion, fear, anxiety, subconscious, intuition with the moon. So he's still telling us that there's some fear and anxiety. So I feel that Dr. Murray was the one that persuaded him to let him administer the drugs. And there's that Hanged Man again. This time it's reversed. This is stalling or resistance. So he was definitely resisting Dr. Murray when it came to that Propofal. Because there's that Three of Swords again. And again, that means heartbreak. This means emotional pain, sorrow, grief, hurt. He was in a lot of pain. And again, with this Eight of Cups, this is reversed this time. And when it's reversed, it means trying one more time or walking away. So I feel that this is an indecision. So I feel that this is him saying that he he was either indecisive about letting Dr. Murray go and wanting to try one more time, or if this was really him walking away and firing Dr. Murray on the spot. And there's that Emperor card. And again, this is usually refers to like a father figure or authority or establishment. So this is him referring to Dr. Murray, that he was letting him go as his personal physician. Their friendship was strained. And that Chariot reverse came up again. Remember, we said opposition, lack of direction. So he feels that that Dr. Murray was not giving him the care he needed at the time of his death. And the Seven of Pentacles. Again, this usually means sustainable results or perseverance. So he was persevering with his tour, despite the recommendations from Dr. Murray, possibly saying, don't be doing this, it's bad for your health. And there's that Ten of Cups. Again, this means relationships. When it's reversed, it usually means struggling relationships. When it's upright, it usually means blissful relationships. So again, I'm confused as to why this is like this, but everything else has been pointing that their relationship was strained. So with this, I'm thinking he wanted someone to care for him with his, he wanted a caring doctor. He didn't want to have a strained relationship with the person that was taking care of his medical problems. That King of Pentacles. This usually means, again, wealth, business, leadership again. So, again, money's still on his mind. And that Knight of Swords. With it reversed, he was burned out. He wasn't focused. He was restless. With the tour, and you can see that, and this is me, that with the tour rehearsals, you could see how exhausted he was. And then there's that Five of Cups again. Again, regret, failure, and disappointment and pessimism. So he believes Dr. Murray was failing him as his doctor, or he was disappointed in him. And again, with that Queen of Cups coming up, he was emotionally stable at the time. So, again, he is telling us he had his emotions in check. He was in the right state. He was in the state of mind, a normal state of mind at the time. Again, with that Knight of Wands, there was some kind of delay or frustration. But there was haste. So I feel that this is him telling me that when Dr. Murray gave him that Propofal, he did it quickly, but the way he did it, it delayed in his death. So he was being very quick with this, injecting that Propofal. And again, going back to the Six of Wands, this is public recognition. So he's acknowledging that Dr. Murray's actions were finally publicly recognized. They made progress by charging him with the involuntary manslaughter, even though it was too little too late. And again, there's that High Priestess reversed again with the secrets and the deception. The Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles, when it's reversed, he's talking again, financial failure or loss, the dark side of wealth. So again, he's going back to his financial troubles. There was some kind of problem with it. And with that Page of Wands reversed, he was coming up with a new idea or going down some kind of spiritual path. He was trying to redirect his energy into something positive out of the negative. And then that Page of Cups came up again. When it's reversed, so however, he was doubtful about something. But again, it also means new ideas and creative blocks. So again, he was coming up with some kind of new idea. So I do believe that he had a new idea just to go ahead and get a new doctor. And that Five of Swords, again, there was a conflict, there was a disagreement. And I'm curious to know what that conflict or that disagreement is still. He feels that his emotions were manipulated by Dr. Murray with this King of Cups. He felt he was being moody. That Dr. Murray was manipulating his emotions at the time of his death. Again, there's that Five of Pentacles. Again, this means worry. This means anxiety. This fear. He feared Dr. Murray. He feared for his life. And again, with this reverse, this means ruthless and impulsive with the King of Wands reversed. So he felt Dr. Murray was a ruthless man and should not have practiced medicine. Well, don't worry, Michael. He lost his license. He won't ever hurt anyone ever again. And there's that Empress card again. Remember we said this is like feminine and beauty and nature and nurturing and abundance. So again, he's telling us he wanted a doctor who was nurturing. He felt that Dr. Murray was abusing him. And that Ace of Pentacles again. This time it's upright again. He's talking about abundance, manifestation, or some kind of opportunity, financially, career-wise. So going back to that, again, with that Sun. That whatever it was going to be fun. It was going to be positive and warm. And that Four of Swords, all he wanted to do was rest and relax that night. That was all that he wanted to do. He wanted to recuperate a little bit. That Temperance card. This means moderation, balance, patience, purpose. So he's telling there's some kind of purpose. That Ace of Swords. Now again, this is another card that people refer to like the birth of a child or something with it. However, it's reversed. He's talking about clouded judgment and rethinking on something. So again, I'm going back to that he was trying to fire Dr. Murray as his personal physician. He was starting to see that Dr. Murray wasn't that great of a guy, and he shouldn't have been trusted. And his judgment was clouded about it. So there's that Five of Wands reversed. Again, this means inner conflict avoidance. So his inner conflicts were trying to tell him to avoid having a conflict with Dr. Murray. Unfortunately, I don't think that's the case. And searching for new opportunities. So I feel this is again him saying Dr. Murray was going to be fired. He was going to search for a new doctor to take care of him. Again, he's telling us he was reestablishing himself. He was reestablishing his sense of self. So he was definitely in the right mindset when he passed. And then that Nine of Wands, again, when it's reversed, there was a struggle. There was some kind, he was being defensive at the time of his death, and there was definitely some paranoia. So he is definitely telling us that Dr. Murray intentionally harmed him. Because again, with this Three of Pentacles, this usually means implementation, teamwork, or learning, or collaboration. So it's just him saying, I'm implementing Dr. Murray in my death. And there's that Magician again. Reversed like that, this means manipulation. So he was definitely manipulated by Dr. Murray. So it's starting to sound like Dr. Murray was reassuring him that it would be okay with what he was giving him. So again, it's starting to sound like he was given way more medication than he wanted. And again, with that Lover's card, choices, relationships. So this relationship with that Page of Swords on top, reversed, it was all talk and no action. It was a haphazard action with that relationship. It was so. This is the Murder card. This Ten of Swords is the Murder card. So this relationship with Dr. Murray resulted in his murder. And the ending was painful. And again, this King of Swords reverse is manipulation, misuse of power, the inner truth. So he is definitely telling us that Dr. Conrad Murray did willfully murder him. Because going back to that Six of Swords, this means transition. So his murder resulted in him transitioning to the other side. And this Knight of Cups is telling us that Dr. Murray was jealous about something as well too. Dr. Murray was greedy. So going back to that money problem, I'm starting to think that Dr. Murray was upset that he was not being paid. So there is a possibility that Dr. Murray murdered him because he was working for free pretty much. And again, that Ten of Wands, that's that burden card. So this is him definitely saying that Dr. Murray carried out his tasks. This also does mean completion and hard work when it's upright like this, or extra responsibility. So this is Michael telling us that Dr. Murray is responsible for his death. And he was cold-hearted. And he was imprisoned in that room. So it is sounding that his death was indeed a murder. He was discovered the next morning, still breathing. Well, not breathing, but still had a pulse and still warm. So, again, all these, he's calling for freedom in this one. So he was trying to free himself from this evil doctor of death. And again, that Eight of Swords. Again, this is another imprisonment, imposed restriction card. Releasing negative thoughts. So he's definitely telling us with all these cards, even this Seven of Swords that just came up, he got away with murder. I'm alone. I died. I distrusted him. I was ending our friendship. I wasn't satisfied. I procrastinated. I'm seeking personal closure. I was in fear for my life. I was anxious. I was worried. We had a conflict and I transitioned. I was stuck. Again, he's still telling us he was feeling stuck at the time of his death. And he started seeing his life be flashed before his eyes. This Six of Cups card refers to revisiting the past and childhood memories. As he was dying, he saw his life flashing before his eyes. He was going back to his childhood and he could see the images in his head. That Nine of Pentacles. He was overinvested in work. He was overinvested, telling us he was invested in work too much. He was totally ignoring the call to get rid of Dr. Murray until it was too late. And again, he had a lot of repressed emotions. And now he calls for justice. He got justice. So, he's telling us, thank you for giving me justice. I just gave you the real truth. So, thanks for watching, you guys. And I hope you liked this video. If you have any requests, please feel free to comment below. And if you'd like your own personal reading, again, you can go to my Instagram or my Twitter. Links are in the descriptions and in the YouTube page profile. So, have a great night, guys. Stay safe. And enjoy this week if you're watching the convention online. I know there's going to be some great speeches. So, have a great night.